Today is the last in the series on Anchored, and we're going to talk about being steadfast. Being steadfast is another synonym for being anchored, and it can mean fixed in direction, like we talked about last time, but another definition is being firm in purpose, resolution, or faith. And to be steadfast is to be anchored. Psalm 112 is a chapter about being steadfast, so we're going to use it as a description and see if we fit it. It says, "Blessed are those that find delight in the Lord's commands." Do I find delight in His commands? Or is it just as long as I receive something in return? It says, "Those who do, calling them now upright, have children that will be blessed, and these children will be mighty in the land." I know lots of us have children that struggle, although we delight in the Lord, and we would consider that we live upright lives. It goes on to say that even in darkness, there's going to be darkness? Light dawns for those that are gracious and compassionate and righteous. Yes, I think we can all say that we're those three things because of Jesus. And God will come to those that are generous and conduct their affairs with justice. And all of these descriptions are of the righteous, those that believe. And then there's the kicker. It says, "The righteous will never be shaken. They will be remembered forever, and they will have no fear of bad news because their hearts are steadfast, trusting in the Lord." So let's recall our visual for this study, the anchor. If a ship is anchored correctly, there's no fear of a storm because the anchor will hold and the ship won't break loose and be destroyed or come adrift. So it is with those that love the Lord, the ones who delight in Him, the upright, the gracious, the compassionate, the righteous. But no fear of bad news, never be shaken. I'm not sure I fit that category of thinking. Isaiah even says He will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast. If you're like me, sometimes you do fear bad news because bad stuff happens in this world and sickness is present and people die, and it shakes us up when that stuff happens in our homes. But it says there is a place of perfect peace in those who have anchored minds. In 1 Peter, we're told to cast our anxiety on Him, be alert, because there's a prowler around, described like a roaring lion. So that's what I'm talking about, the prowler, the scary. Can you really sleep in peace if there's an intruder prowling around your home? We are told to resist the prowler, stand firm, because other believers are suffering as well. And it ends by saying that after we have suffered a little while, He will restore us and make us strong, firm, and steadfast. So we're not so bad after all. There is a prowler, one that stalks the upright, the delighters, the righteous, the steadfast. But I read that a steadfast person calmly holds firm to the chosen position and follows through with determination. We can totally be anchored and steadfast even though storms are blowing on the horizon. We have this position in Christ that's immovable and unshakable. We might be shaking in our boots, unable to rest at night and worried, but if our steadfast, our anchor holds, we can shake ourselves and cast our cares on Him and see Him and recognize Him coming through the storm to lie down in our boat and sleep. Jesus slept with the guys in the boat, and they were angry that He was sleeping. Jesus disappointed them in their faint hearts, but then He spoke silence to the storm. This whole series has been about being anchored, and we're ending with being steadfast. We've chosen to believe in Jesus and what He's done, and that He calls us upright and righteous because of His work. And though there's a prowler or a storm at sea, there's this possibility of resting because we have this immovable anchor that holds us steady. It's not about never facing a storm, but it's about sleeping when they do come in peace. I'm thinking that being steadfast is a lifetime journey of putting one foot in front of the other, never veering, casting our anxieties over on Him, facing storms and knowing He's right there with us and there's no need to fear. In fact, His commands supersede the raging winds. I'm honestly not there yet. If the storm is small and there's just a cloud with a quick downpour, I'm okay. But let that storm rage for hours and destroy everything beneath me, I'm shivering in my boots. We once lost our house, my husband's health. We had intruders in our home that burglarized us, and we experienced a fire and more. And I had heard Jesus ask me at that time, "If all you know is me, is that enough?" I answered yes, and this incredible peace overtook my spirit for a few minutes that was indescribable. Being steadfast, anchored in Jesus, is enough to weather what comes, what was, and what awakens us in the dead of night with crashing waves and thunder. It's this firm position that we know we hold as the one who is our anchor holds us. He's our foothold that keeps our feet from slipping. He's the pillar on which we can lean. We are bound in the bundle of the living, securely held as our eyes are fixed on Him. And we can be surprised at the storms and shake, angry that the storm is raging, or we can look for Jesus and sleep right beside Him as He enters our boat and says, "Silent," to the wind. Suffering is among us. It was with Jesus too, but He was steadfast in His purpose, resolution, and faith in the Father's plan for His life and for all of us who believe. Steadfast.